Good evening, everyone. My name is Lubert Sinatus, and I am 1/6 of cohort 47 at Morgan State University's Community College Leadership Doctoral Program. The topic slide in front of you right now states my topic for the research, and it's will a culture of civic engagement in community colleges lead to degree completion for African American male students? So this slide talks about how I came into this topic. So a little bit about me is that every year I get to witness thousands of students all over the United States graduate from high school. And the culmination of the high school experience results into one of three common pathways for these students that I interact with. And that's either you can go directly into the workforce, you can enter into the military, or pursue higher education / vocational credentials. So I'm interested in looking at what happens for the students that I work with once they enroll into college. So in order to understand why I want to take them there, it's important to understand what the benefits of a college education is. So the studies indicate that a college degree holder earns $1.5 million more over the course of their lifetime than high school graduates. So there is a vast income disparity when I looked at the African American group versus the rest of their peers. So the things that they're missing out on is being able to provide stability for their families, career opportunities are limited, job security as well as job satisfaction, and overall investment for their future as well as generations that comes after them. So here's how the statement of my problem kind of evolved over the past couple weeks, and it can be summed up into these two quotes that I got from some of the researchers in the field. And the first quote reads, "The value of college access and completion cannot be overstated for marginalized racial and ethnic student populations. Various media outlets stress the importance and need for a college degree to gain the necessary tools for social mobility and training to enter white-collar professions." So here the researcher is acknowledging that there is a need for degrees to move up to increase your social economic status. The second quote I got from researcher Cox, who states that historically underrepresented students, such as lower income Black and Latino students, college degrees remain even less attainable. So this recognizes the hardships for this particular demographic, the African American students. So herein lies the purpose statement. I believe community colleges functions as an accessible gateway for higher education, and particularly for first-generation low-income students. So when examining a U.S. Department of Education study, a 2009 study, almost 55% of Black males attend two-year institution. With that being said, and noticing that almost half of all the Black males I see cross the graduation stage each year, they end up at these junior colleges, community colleges, that is charged to supporting their vision or mission of obtaining college credentials. So now there is extensive literature that centers itself around civic engagement. Most researchers in the field around civic engagement acknowledge that there is a positive correlation with college graduates and civic engagement. So because of this study, it piqued my interest in a way that if this is true, even though most of the studies happen in the northeast of the United States, if this is true, then there's a possible solution for the African American demographic. And it's important that we understand that civic engagement is almost universal in approach because there's a need for it, that's universal. Because studies indicate that 2/3 of college students lack civic engagement skills anyway. So, and I'm assuming that that may be true for this particular African American male students. So, the significance of this study is there is a national call to action from President Obama's administration that he wants to increase, or his administration wants to increase, the number of community college graduates by the year 2020. Um, and it's an ambitious goal, but I think it's one of those goals that's worth taking a charge for. The other point and the other significance I want to make for the study is that we spend most of our resources trying to rehabilitate this demographic. When examining the school to prison pipeline, we see how much tax dollars go into prison systems, and the recidivism rate is questionable. So my position here is that we could spend more resources into our education system than the prison system. Um, the other significance of the study is that there's various men of color programs, people of color programs. There's extensive dollars that goes into this population anyway. So I look to inform these groups like my Brother's Keepers and every other group that's working with community college students to inform them on civic engagement. Because I believe that, the aphorism that reads, "A rising tide lifts all boats," is very much apropos for this study, because if the results from this study is compelling, then we have a possible solution for our African American students in community colleges. Some of the literature that shapes my understanding is Marissa Vasquez and John Luke Wood, who does extensive research with black male and their graduation rates in community colleges. One of the bodies of work that I've read was their article on "Do Institutional Characteristics Make a Difference?" And it was important for me to understand how the buy-in of the institution and civic engagement is really important as I dig deeper into the study. The other person that influenced my research is Dabney Smith's a multi-level case analysis of campus-based initiatives, programs, and practices, and the impact of participation on the perceptions of first-year African-American male community college students in Texas. So her dissertation were around the impact of various programs that exist in its current state. And I wanted to examine whether there was anything that was tailored around civic engagement. And there was very limited research on that. Another article I came across was, or dissertation, I should say, was Gorgle's Understanding the Influence of the College Experience on the Civic Development of Undergraduate Students. And this frames the study because it allows me to look at his approach when introducing civic engagement to undergraduate students. And the other researcher, and these are just 4 out of 20 dissertations or articles that influence the literature. The last one was Quentin's looking at for coherence and support services for minority students at community colleges. And that was important because it helped me look at the whole system in its totality so that we can understand what we need to do to implement this framework, this study. The chosen methodology is a qualitative study. According to Creswell, a qualitative study should be considered when you're assessing a process over time. And that will be the design of my research, assessing the impact of civic engagement with African American male students within an institution that embraces civic engagement over the course of their matriculation. And that'll get defined as we go on to research. So here's my references, and that's all. Thank you for listening.